So we're going to go ahead and get started since we have some people who've joined. My name is Alicia Perkins. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and this is S.H.E.R.O Spotlight. And for those of you that are new to S.H.E.R.O Spotlight, welcome. And to my I guess you can say my fans or my family. There we go, not fans, family. My S.H.E.R.O family, welcome back. So glad to have you with us. And this is the last S.H.E.R.O Spotlight of 2023. And I'm just so happy to have Shalita Armstrong here with me tonight. But before I get into introducing Shalita, let her introduce herself more so. I just want to share with you all, for those who are new to S.H.E.R.O Spotlight, what it's all about. Like I said, I am a licensed clinical social worker. During the pandemic, I started doing these Saturday Seeds, giving people words of wisdom just to help during the pandemic, because a lot of people were struggling mentally. And then it spiraled into the S.H.E.R.O Spotlight. I wanted to spotlight moms because we are the unsung heroes. We do a lot of things that don't get credit for, but we also go through a lot of things. And it really was inspired by my story because I was going through depression when I was going through a divorce, and then being a single mom. It was just a lot, but I used S.H.E.R.O, which is an acronym that I created because, as you all know, it's a female hero, but I created an acronym. S stands for sacrificing for my child or children. H is healing from my past hurts. E is evolving into what God wants me to be. R is revealing my truth, and O is obtaining my goals and happiness. And by doing all those things, I'm out here surviving and thriving. You know what I'm saying? And so I just wanted everybody to know that we all go through things. And sometimes you may think that you're alone on your journey, but hearing these S.H.E.R.O stories, letting you know that you're not alone. Your journey or your story may be very similar to theirs. And by hearing them overcome their adversity, it will inspire and also empower you. So tonight I have Shalita here with me. So Shalita, share with everybody where you're from, how many children you have, your husband, and all that good stuff.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shalita Armstrong. I am born and raised in Martinsville, Virginia, so I've been here my entire life. I have been married to Joseph, who's my husband, for 13 years, and I also have a blended family of children ranging from ages 10 to 24. And I'm so
Awesome.
excited to be on tonight. Thanks for
Yes,
having
and
me.
I love her background with her children in the background. Absolutely love it.
Thank
And her
you.
dogs. And she's representing my hometown, Martinsville, Virginia. Any people from Martinsville out there, put your name out there. I see some people out there watching. So Shalita, I break it down based on my acronym as I ask you the question. So
Mhm.
the first one is sacrificing for my children. What does sacrifice mean to you?
To me, basically, sacrificing means that you're kind of not really giving up on something that means a lot to you, but you're just basically making things work. You're giving up something dear to your heart, whether it's temporarily or permanently, for basically a better future. So you're sacrificing something that's real dear to your heart for something
Right.
else that's, in my case, that's more rewarding, that's going to have great end results.
Right. Got you. And you learned at an early age about entrepreneurship and sacrifice from your mom. What sacrifices did you see your mom make?
Well, my mom well, she is was and still is a
Mhm.
go-getter my entire life. Um, she actually worked a lot and she sacrificed a lot to make sure that we were provided for. She taught me the importance of working. She taught me basically the importance of basically knowing that nothing will come easy in life. Like you really have to get out here and work for it. And she actually owns a beauty supply shop on Main Street. She's been there since 2005. So I would
Okay.
also like to let everyone know, go by there and check her out. It's called Angels, Wigs, and More.
Yes, I'm gonna put it in the chat. So make sure y'all
Yes, yes,
support
yes.
Shalita's mom as you in the Martinsville surrounding areas. So you said that was Angels.
Yes, it's called Angels, Wigs, and More, and the address is 133 East Main Street.
All right, so I put that in the chat. So make sure for those of you in Martinsville and surrounding areas, you go check her mom out and support a Black woman-owned business.
Yes, yes, yes.
Now we get into healing from my past hurts. Because like I said, we all go through some adversities, and sometimes that takes some healing to do to get over that. And as a mom, some may sacrifice by putting their goals and dreams on hold for their children. But then there's some that may sacrifice by striving to reach those goals to provide better for their children. What are your thoughts on each one of those things, and which do you lean more towards?
Basically, when I guess when it pertains to me and my story, I have been to nursing school. It took actually a couple years to complete. And
Mhm.
anyone who has went to school in general, after high school or went to college, you know that it's definitely not easy. And there are a
Mhm.
lot of things that you have to sacrifice. My biggest sacrifice, I pretty much would say, was sacrificing time with my family.
Mhm.
Missing a lot of time with my husband, with my children, missing a lot of like school plays and different little big events, maybe sports that they may have had, just to make sure that I succeeded with my studies.
Mhm.
I would also like to say, like, for an example, like last night, I had ended up working late and I came home and I knew I had quite a few things to do. I needed to do laundry. I needed to straighten up. I mean, it was a lot of things that needed to be done around the house. And my son,
Mhm.
for an example, was like, Mom, can we watch Rudolph? Can you watch Rudolph with me? And I'm like, Lord, I got so much to do. But, it's like little small things like that that means a lot. So I, sit down and watch Rudolph with them. Like, it's just the small things. So basically, I guess my thing is there are going to be times when we have to balance motherhood as females, because if we
Right.
be honest, the females honestly kind of run things to make sure that it's done. But I would
Yes.
also like to say too, my husband is real good. I'm so grateful for him as well. But like I said, there were so many times where I had to neglect family just to get things done, just to
Mhm.
get things done. But I guess like every time that I could, I would still make time for them, because it's the small things that actually mean a lot. So I didn't just like strictly just straight ignore family, but I just
Right.
had to make sacrifices, and they understood. But as a
Right.
mom, you know, we're
Mhm.
guilty. Like it just
Right.
leaves us feeling so guilty when we have to put other things first. Maybe not,
Mhm.
maybe I shouldn't say first, but you have to kind of prioritize
Right. Exactly.
things at
And
times.
speaking of guilt, there is a such thing as mom guilt, and it's real. And for those of you who don't know what that is, there are feelings of guilt and shame. Some
Mhm.
others feel when they don't live up to their own or others' expectations in their role as a mother. It's like an internal dialogue that you're having with yourself that tells yourself that you're failing as a mom because you're not living up to the rules or norms that what a mother should be. That's like, let's think about back in the day, a lot of women were homemakers or housewives. And so their job was to take care of the children while the husband was out working and being the provider. But times have changed, and women
Mhm.
are out here building their queendoms, as I call them. And so we're working, and some of us are the breadwinners and things of that nature. So we're sacrificing, and so sometimes because it doesn't look normal to some people, it's that, some people are like, oh, you should be at home with your kids or you need to be doing this more. And so it ends up being that battle, and you're like, am I a good mom? And I can speak for myself being a single mom. It's hard, balancing, and then sometimes too with trying to find childcare and things of that nature. I have a lot of different things that I do, and just trying to find that balance. So share your experience with dealing with mom guilt, and how did you overcome that, or how do you even deal with it? Because you might not overcome it, you just may be managing it.
Yes, honestly, I can't even honestly say that I have honestly overcame it, but I can say
Mhm.
that I am able to manage it. Like for an example, okay, so I had a opportunity a while back for a position, and it just really sounded good. Everything
Mhm.
about it just sounded so good, until, I really sat down and thought about it. And I said, like when I'm changing jobs or changing positions at a job or changing or making a lifestyle change like that, I can't just focus on me, you know.
Right.
Um, I sat down, I prayed about it. I always pray before I make any big decisions. I
Mhm.
always discuss things with my husband as well before I make the decision. It's like, although it sounded really good. The more I
Mm-hmm.
thought about it, I would have had to change like my whole home life around. So
Mm.
basically, I feel like I already missed enough time with my children and with my husband. And I'm
Right.
like, okay, if I do this, then it's going to cost me to lose even more time with them. And,
Mm-hmm.
I said, right now, I don't think I'm going to, make this change. But I know in some situations, you have to make those type of changes. But
Right.
what you have to
Mhm.
do, like I said earlier, you just have to still find time for your family. And you just have to basically make it work and just let them know that you love them and just be there with them and for them as much as you possibly can. Just like I was saying earlier, like watching the Rudolph movie with my son just meant the world to him. So it's like something that small, means a lot to him.
Right.
So, we just have to learn just how to balance and juggle things, but we can do it. It can be done.
Absolutely. And I like what you said too, because sometimes kids we're thinking they want monetary things or buying them things, but it'd be like the little things. Like my daughter just
Mhm.
likes having like girls' night out where we're just sitting in the house watching a movie
Yeah,
together or just walking at a park together and just letting her talk and stuff like that. It doesn't cost anything besides time. And so we have to be willing to do that. And like you said, it's about balance and trying to fit those things in so it can be well rounded. And sometimes I do a pulse check. Sometimes I ask my daughter, and do you feel like I'm spending enough time with you? And she'll be honest. She'll be
right.
like, no, we should need to do this or something. And sometimes she'll be like, oh, yeah, mommy, you're fine. Because I just want to make sure that I'm there for her.
That's right.
But I'm really making a lot of these things and doing a lot of these things for her.
That's
Also
right.
teaching our children too how to work hard, because we've talked about this, how to work hard, because things are not going to be given to you, because a lot
That's
of
right.
kids these days and this generation will spoil and want things real quick. But kind of showing them like, no, you work for these things.
That's right. It is not going to fall. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's another thing that I often emphasize too.
Hmm. And then when we talk about evolving into what God wants me to be, and if you saw my marketing intro, Shalita, she is like I said, mother, wife, but also she is a nurse. She's also a CPR instructor, and then she's the owner of Sweet Heaven, which is an ice cream candy shop. And so I want
Mhm.
you to talk about your entrepreneurial journey a little bit and how all this came about with your ice cream candy shop.
Okay, so it's going to kind of seem a little funny. It's going to kind of seem funny, but I'm going to tell you how it started off. So since I was a child, I have always wanted to have a candy shop or be the owner of a candy shop. So every time that we go to the beach, especially where we most of the time go to Virginia Beach, they
Mhm.
have a lot of little candy shops on the strips. I mean, they're just beautiful to me because I'm just like a kid when I actually enter those shops. So
Mhm.
anyway, it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while. And my husband, I know when COVID first came out in 2019, it was it 19 or 20? I forgot
It was
which year it
20, I
was.
think like the early part of 20.
2020. Yeah, because I remember it was in May. So, when they first came out, it was, and it still is, a pretty bad virus,
Hmm.
whatever, but everyone was just plumb afraid and shook about it. And I remember he had told me one morning, he was like, I don't feel good. He said, I just don't feel good. So anyway, he ended up going to the urgent care and he was diagnosed with COVID.
Mm.
So what happened was, when it first came out, the quarantine times were much longer. So
Hmm.
he had to quarantine for 14 days, and then me and the kids had to quarantine for an additional 14 days. So we had
Hmm.
nothing but time on our hands, just time,
Right.
time, time. So I was watching a TV show one day. This is the funny part about it. It's the Chrisley's Knows Best.
I love that show.
And I remember they are hilarious. And I remember the wife had snuck the son in the candy shop, and the dad Todd had called and said, "Where y'all at?" And she told her son, "You better not tell them." And for some reason, I don't know what it was, but it was like, you know what? It's time to go ahead and start planning this candy shop, this business
Hmm.
thing. And believe it or not, we jumped on it, started, basically went to the internet, started looking for resources, started looking at different inventory. Also,
Right.
I had talked to my mom and she told me about Mr. Scales. Mr. Scales at the Small Business Association reached out to him. All of his services were absolutely free of
Hmm.
charge. He told us what to do, what documents were needed, told us about the business plan, gave us templates on how to get the business plan together. I mean, he
Hmm.
was such a big help. But anyway, that's how it all came out. That's how it all came up. And we sat there
Right.
in that time and just kind of, you know, got everything planned out and made sure that we were doing things legally and the right
Right.
way.
Absolutely. Right. So share your business name again and how they can follow you. I'm going to put it in the chat too, and how they can follow
Okay.
you and things of that nature.
Okay. So the name of the business is actually Sweet Heaven Inc. And we are on to East Church Street. We're uptown actually. And we have all sorts of different candies. We have different ice creams. We do milkshakes. We do smoothies. We do banana splits, and we have all types of sweets. We have some of the old
Yes.
time sweets, different things like
Uh-huh.
that.
Yes. And before I give my review, because I have been to her ice cream, so what type of experience can your customers expect when they walk into your store, or what sets your business apart from others?
Well, actually, I feel like that they're always going to have good customer service when you come in. My children, I'm going to be honest with you, that's something too that we let our kids participate in a lot. Like it's
Mhm.
some days when I'm there with my son, especially on the weekends, because most of the time my husband actually runs the shop and takes care of everything majority of the time with the shop. But when
Mhm.
I'm in there some weekends with my kids, like I'll just sit back and let them run it.
Mhm.
They'll take care of the customers, they'll ring them up. My kids, like some of the things I don't even really know the prices to. And my son would be like $2 or $3.50, like he knows it out top. So we basically let them make the ice cream, ring up the customers, help the customers in any type of way. And customers actually love that. And it's also good because the kids, they love doing it too. And it's teaching them responsibility. I told
Right.
them one day, like if something was to happen to us, then that would be on them to run. So it's actually
Absolutely.
good.
So building that legacy, and actually your 10-year-old son is kind of like the manager there, right?
I, I tell him he's the boss. I tell him
Yeah, so
he's the
she lets
boss.
her kids do like the buying of the products and things like that,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, and they like also sometimes they'll pick out like the inventory. They'll be like, "Mama, this is what's trending on TikTok and this and that." So yeah, they're real.
Mhm.
It's basically it's a family oriented business. Like we want everyone to come in and feel welcomed and feel at home and just enjoy themselves.
Right, absolutely. So when I visited, actually, our kids was on a children's talk show talking about
Hmm.
their business.
Hmm.
My daughter was on there talking about hers. Her children was on there talking about theirs as well. And my parents had told me, and also my daughter had already been to her store before. And so I was like, so I met Shalita then. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go
Hmm.
to her shop. And I went, and she's right. I mean, she had her two lovely young ladies working in there. I think those were her daughters, and they were so
Hmm.
nice and took their time explaining things to us and was just really sweet. And the ice cream was the bomb. And I think we ended up getting some fudge as well when we was in there. So
Hmm.
everything was good. And like I said, great customer service. So make sure you check her out if you're in the Martinsville or either surrounding areas. And again, Shalita, what's that location of your
We're
shop?
located on 2 East Main Street. And I want to add one more thing too, if you
Mhm.
don't mind. Um,
Sure.
I also wanted to add like to the females out here, just in general, like don't ever give up on your
Mhm.
dreams. You know what? I have always thought like, okay, like starting the business, at first I was like, okay, it might be silly or it just might not succeed. And we were almost actually at that point, and I'll tell you about that here shortly. But I always say that you have to try things out because what's worse, trying it out and not succeeding or not trying it at all. And
Mhm.
then you
Yeah,
never know if you would have succeeded or not. So you
exactly.
always like if something is in your heart to give it a try, regardless of what it is, if it's something that can not only make you better but also help others, do it. Give it a
Right,
try.
absolutely.
Give it a
Absolutely.
try.
And I'm seeing some hearts out there, a lot of love out there. And a lot of people love that you're teaching your children. So
Thank you.
Absolutely love that. Now you're hitting right on everything because now when we're talking about revealing my truth, we're talking about you as being a business owner, and there are ups and downs when you're a business owner. So
Yes.
how do you stay motivated?
Yes. So that's another thing too, that I wanted to mention. I know we started off at a location on Spruce Street,
Mhm.
and it was a great building, great area. It was actually a great start for us, so I'm not going to knock it at all. But it became very, very, very discouraging. We
Mhm.
might would get well when we first opened up. We were kind of busy, kind of steady, and then eventually it just kind of went. You know, just kind of went
Right.
downhill. And me and my husband had talked like, you know what, this just might not be, you know, this just might not be for us. But we did not give up. Um, One day I was at work and my husband called and was like, hey, this couple just came in and they were telling me about another location in the uptown area. And he was like, well, maybe we should go and check them out.
Mhm.
Pondered about it, and like, I don't know, because I ain't trying to
Mhm.
keep going in the hole with this business.
Right. I got it.
So
Uh-huh.
anyway, we prayed about it. Once again, like I said, pray, 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 pray first before we make any big decisions. And we did go and
Mhm.
meet with this couple and talk to them. And you know what? We ended up making that move.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to sit here and say that business is perfect or it's the way that we want it to be all the way, but we thank God for any
Yeah.
bit of progress, and it's
Absolutely.
much better area. The landlords that we actually have, they work with us. They're awesome. Um, and also we're in a better location, more traffic,
Mhm.
and it just God just worked it out. He worked it out.
Absolutely. See how God send
Worked it
people, you
out.
know what I'm saying, and give you what you need. And
Yes.
another thing I thought was interesting too when I talked to you initially was
Mm-hmm.
that you all funded your own business. Little by little you bought things and share a little bit
Mm-hmm.
about that too, because sometimes people just wanted to have it all together before they get
Yeah.
started. But sometimes
Yes.
it's just best to step out on faith.
Exactly. That's exactly what we did because we honestly didn't have it like that. To just like purchase everything brand new and this and that. So what we did was we worked extra hours, and that goes back to the sacrificing. Sometimes you
Mhm.
gotta get in there and get dirty
Right.
just a little longer. So we worked extra hours and we actually just saved up. We didn't rush, we took our time, we saved up, and like a lot of our equipment, I was on that Facebook marketplace find
Right.
equipment. I mean, we went to like South Carolina and got
Wow.
a big candy machine. I think we went to maybe Charlotte and got
Uh-huh.
like some of the freezers. We went to almost Tennessee and got like some of the
Wow.
tables and things. So like
Uh-huh.
we didn't put every single thing brand new, but we made sure
Hmm.
that it was suitable
Right. Absolutely.
enough to go in the shop at least for a start. And then later on, once we got into our new place, we actually was able to apply for a grant at the chamber, and
Hmm.
we were actually blessed with the grants to help us get
Awesome.
even more equipment. So we just took those little baby steps. We just
Uh-huh.
took a little leap of faith, and God just worked it out, just made it
Yes.
huge. He
Look
worked
at
it out
God.
for us.
Yes.
Look,
I
yeah,
love it. Now,
yeah.
what have you
So
learned as a business owner? What can you share with the people or somebody who may be thinking about going into business? What have you learned? What are some tips?
I have learned basically you have to be patient.
Mhm.
You can't give up when times like when things get hard and you face hurdles. You can't give up. You got to keep pressing. Um, and always have that spirit where you're always willing to learn.
Mm.
Always be willing to learn and
Right.
listen to others, because sometimes there really are people who really want to help you and really want you to succeed. So it's always good to, listen to others that may have been there and take advice. I mean, not saying that you have to take every single bit of advice, but there are actually some people who can help you get to where
Right.
you need to be. And just like I said, just trust the process. Pray, 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 and trust the process.
Right. I love
Trust the
that.
process. Have your stuff in order. and don't be so fast about it. Just like we did sometimes, like let's say that you're trying to get a retail or something like that, you might not want to start off just buying everything brand new, although you would love to, you might have to just
Mhm.
take baby steps until you get to where you want to be.
Right. Absolutely. Because like you said, sometimes people want things so quick and they just don't take their time with it and,
Mm-hmm.
doing their research and also using your resources, like you said, asking for help. Because I've had some
Yeah.
other sheroes said too, go to your chambers of, saying
Mhm.
that they sometimes can help and they have resources and stuff like that. So definitely look to see what's available to you because a lot of times you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You may have something
That's
that's there
right.
for you to follow.
That's right.
So
And
love
like
that.
when I was mentioning about the Small Business Association too, like I was saying, he had all types of templates and everything to
Good.
basically help get you started. And his name, like I said, is Michael Scales. He was
Awesome.
very helpful. We was having a issue with, we had ordered, don't ask me how we did this, but we had ordered the wrong freezer. And
Oh,
keep in mind the freezer was like on up there in price or
oh
whatever. We
wow.
ordered the wrong thing. So
Uh-huh.
we tried, we was actually supposed to take out a refrigerator. We ordered a freezer. So that's what happened.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
don't you know, we had shared that actually with the chamber. And I
Uh-huh.
said it won't nobody but God. They had like a one that they had just put away that wasn't in use that they absolutely donated to us for free. So
Wow. You see how
yeah.
things just fall into place though
Mhm.
when you know you're on the right track. It's just things just happen, just come together. It's just align. That is so amazing. Now we get to obtaining your goals and happiness. You're doing so many great things. What is the next chapter for you?
Well, the next chapter right now, I've been really considering and praying on it, but the next chapter, I think I want to branch out as far as medical. I want to go and try to get my master's and get my nurse practitioner.
Yes,
That's
yes.
what that's what I really want to do. So that's
That's
what's
awesome. Yes. I
gonna
love that.
happen.
And
Yes.
we need more nurse practitioners, especially African American nurse
Yes.
practitioners, because there are disparities in the medical field. And so definitely, need that. So we're just excited for you on your next
Thank
journey.
you.
And like
Thank
I said,
you.
please go out and support her business. If you live in the Martinsville, like I said, around the area, go support her business. And
Yes.
so my last question for you, what advice would you give a mom who is struggling with mom guilt?
Stick with it, sis. Stick with whatever your plans and your dreams are. Stick with it. Just like I said earlier, you still have to find that balance, to still spend time with your family and always try to handle home first, pretty
Mhm.
much. But don't limit yourself. Don't stop your dreams. Don't stop pushing for your goals. Still do what you need to do in life to succeed, because in
Right,
the long run your kids are going to appreciate that, and you're going to basically, you're setting a great example for them to push them to strive to be better. And also
right.
I want to share um, a scripture that I remember one
Yeah.
day I was talking to my first lady at church. By the way, I go to God's Love Outreach Ministries, and the pastor is Ronald Harrison, Elder Ronald Harrison.
Yes. Woo
And I
woo.
was and I was talking to my first lady one day. This is when I was in nursing school, and I was like, I'm just really struggling. Um, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but I have went through a few stages of depression. Um, and like to the point where I felt, I just felt down a lot
Hmm.
at one point in time. I was feeling down. I was feeling just like kind of like in a dark space.
Hmm.
And it was obviously to the point where other people noticed, because they would come and ask like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh my God, like, is it like, am I really,
Right.
that's why I say mental health is real. People don't really take it as serious as they should. But anyway, I thank God, um, prayer and just, living life just kind of helped me to,
Right.
I guess, get to where I'm needed to be. But like I said, I would like to say this, and I know this might be unrelated, but
Right.
mental health, like I said, is real, and I don't feel like that we give it the attention that we should, just in general. And we all go through things. So I would just like to encourage people, like when you feel yourself getting in a dark space or whatever it might be, talk to someone. Don't hold it
Right.
in. Talk to someone. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, my pastor's wife told me this scripture when I was kind of going through a little bit, and it kind of stuck with me. It's Romans 8:18. It said, "Our present sufferings are not worth comparing to the glory that will be revealed in us." And you know what she basically said? This scripture means like you don't dwell on the trials and the hardships that are going on right now. Just
Mm-hmm.
know what's going on right now. Okay, it's going on, but it's preparing you for the good things that are going to come in your future.
Yes.
And you know what? That right there was enough for me. Do you hear me? I looked at this scripture
Yes.
and it keeps me uplifted and encouraged because it's true. You can't dwell on your problems and your hardships and the trials that you're facing right now. It's like just basically everything happens for a reason. Everything
Mm-hmm.
happens for a reason. And these trials and these hardships that you're going through, this mom guilt or whatever it may be, it's only temporarily.
Mm-hmm.
It's only temporarily.
Absolutely.
It's going to get better.
I love that. What a word to end the year, and start your new year off right. So, Shalita, you did an amazing job, and just so many different gems that you shared, just about, prayer and trust in the process. We all go through trials and tribulations, but it's temporary. And just pushing through. Like if you have a desire in your heart, just push through regardless of what people say or the distractions that come your way. If it's what you feel is your purpose and what you want and the goals, you just push through. So all that was just so amazing. And I just thank you for giving us that word.
You.
And so now we have our Q&A session. So if anyone has any questions for Shalita, you can put it in the chat. Feel free to put it in the chat. But yeah, and I just want to talk about too real quickly about like what she's saying, mental health. We really do have to take care of our mental health, and let's start our new year taking care of us, finding
Mm-hmm.
balance. Balance is key. It's a lot of things where people want to do, and people comparing their lives to other people. Stay in your
Mm-hmm.
lane and focus
Yes.
on having balance. You can do a lot of things, but you got to have that balance and taking that time out for yourself, taking time out for your family, taking time out for the goals and the aspirations that you have as well. And so many people giving you love. Great job.
Oh,
Awesome.
thank
You're getting
y'all.
love
Thank
out there,
y'all so
Shalita.
much. And another thing too that I'm gonna add too, to like piggyback on what you just said too, you can't always like expect others to pat you on the back. Like sometimes you gotta
Mhm.
encourage and uplift
Yourself.
yourself.
Absolutely.
It's a must.
Absolutely.
So
Yes. And then just again, one of my favorite sayings is when your cup is empty, how can you pour into others? So it's important that you take care of you, number one,
right.
and then everything else will follow. So much, Shalita. And I just want to say that you are a
Thank
hero.
you. And you are too. And our lovely
Thank you.
ladies are as well.
You have sacrificed for your children, healed from your past hurts, evolving into what God wants you to be, revealed your truth here today. You're obtaining your goals and happiness. And I can't express enough how honored I am that you said yes and decided to be my Shiro for my last Shiro of this year. And so definitely you all continue to support Shiro Spotlight. If you're in the Martinsville or Southern Virginia area, I am now on TV where they do show these Shiro Spotlights on RGM TV, which is, I think it's Xfinity Channel 16. That's what it is. And also on YouTube. And also on next month, I'm going to be doing a recap of all the She-Ros this year. So if you missed them, you can kind of hear their story and then go back and watch them. But these all have been a blessing. And then next year, I don't know what's going to come, but I know it's going to be bigger and better. So y'all stay tuned. And I hope that everyone has a Merry Christmas and a Happy
Yes.
New Year. Sheila, do you have anything else you
Yes.
want to say?
That is it. Everyone just have a blessed night and happy holidays. And thanks again to you
Oh,
for
you're
giving me this
welcome. No problem.
opportunity.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone who joined us tonight. I hope you all take care. Thank you. Bye.